Hey, how's it going out there, everyone? This is Mike B coming at you for Campfire Guitar Star. Today we're going to be checking out Muddy Waters, so obviously it's going to be a blues-based lesson. Now this is going to be a beginner blues lesson. We're going to be looking at two different songs by Muddy Waters. Two songs that I feel every guitarist must know. If you want to play the blues or you just want to play guitar in general, you got to learn these two songs. So the first one is going to be Mannish Boy, and the second one is going to be Hoochie Coochie Man. Totally just two must-know beginner blues songs that are both actually not too complicated. No worries out there if you're a total beginner. We're not going to be looking at any crazy shred blues lines or anything. We're totally just going to be looking at the riffs of this song. So don't worry, we're not going to be doing any crazy technical solos that are way out of your reach. Now, right before we jump into this lesson, I want you to go to the description of this video and download those tabs I have in there. It's gonna be way easier to follow this one by tab. All right, guys, well, let's jump into the very first song. The first one is going to be Mannish Boy, and this one's not the original recording of this song. We're actually gonna be looking at one Muddy Waters did a little bit later, in 1977 with Johnny Winter. So here's what it sounds like right here. We go. As you can see, it's just one riff, and that's the entire song right there. We don't do anything else besides that one deadly riff. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm gonna break it down two different ways, the beginner way and the intermediate way. So the beginner way is quite simply just like this. We're all gonna be on just on our A string here, no other strings for this riff at all. And we're gonna be using the 3rd fret and the 5th fret. So we're only using two fingers as well, our 1st finger and our 3rd finger for this one. So we've got here we're gonna start off just open A by itself. So boom, just open A right there. Then our 3rd finger is gonna come onto the 5th fret of the same string, the A string, and then back to open. So I've got, nice, that's just 0, 5, 0. After that, we've almost got the whole thing. All we got to do is 3, 0. And that's the whole riff right there. I'm just doing all downstrokes in my right hand. So again, let me say it out loud while I do it. So it's 0, 5, 0, 3, 0. All right, so if we put a little bit of rhythm to that, it sounds like this. This is about full speed right here. It's really specific fingering. Make sure you're rocking that 1st and 3rd finger right there. There's no sense going and just jumping around with your 1st finger. That's just gonna really complicate things and just make it a lot harder. You're gonna have to keep an eye on your left hand, but if you just keep your 3rd finger and your 1st finger, I don't even have to look at my guitar. Everything just stays right in position. So get that riff down, it's not complicated at all, and just immediately put on the song and just start playing along with it. It's as beneficial as playing with a metronome. You actually get to jam out with a real blues band. So as soon as you got that, go search out of this video, search on YouTube the Mannish Boy, and just try to start jamming along right away. So like I said, that was the beginner version of the riff, and there's another way I'd like to show you that's a little bit more intermediate based, but this is the way I like to do it. And I find it just a little bit funner. You can dig in a little bit harder. So, but if you have small hands, this one might be a little bit too difficult. And if you're still a total beginner and this one's frustrating you, this second version here, no worries, just stick to the original. We don't want to frustrate you here. This is just a different sort of way I like to play it. So check it out. What I like to do here is, because I have fairly big hands, I get my thumb up here, just lightly like muting my E string. I'm not like fretting any notes. I'm just kind of like up there just to mute the E string. And now check this out. While that's there, my 1st finger is gonna go on the 2nd fret of the D string. I'm gonna leave these two things here down at all times. My thumb muting the E, and my 2nd finger my 1st finger just holding the 2nd fret of the D string. So those two just stay the entire riff. Now, check it out here. If I just strum the lower half of this guitar here, so the E, A, D, I get this, right? Because my E string is muted, I can just let my pick fall, and I'm getting the open A string and the 2nd fret on the D string, creating a power chord. have to worry about just hitting the A string, just let your right hand fall. It's all about establishing some mutes in the left hand, and your right hand can just have so much more fun. So that's the first hit. Instead of just the open A, we go. And now our pinky, now this is where it comes, it's nice to have big hands to reach this. Pinky's gonna come into the 5th fret. So we have, notice my first finger and my thumb are still just hanging out where they were. Back to that open. And by open, I'm now, remember, I'm strumming just the low 3 strings here. First finger is making it a chord. So we have, one more time. One more time. Since this is such a far stretch to get your pinky out here, you can always go just to the lower part of the fret here, right? Because it's a fretted instrument, we don't have to be, you know, right tucked up to the line. We can be anywhere in this region. It's gonna be the same note, but the catch is, the farther you are back, or the closer you are to your headstock, the harder you're gonna have to squeeze to like actually push down on it. Whereas if I'm way up here, I can barely push, but back here, the stretch is easier, but I have to push a little bit harder, so it's a trade-off. I personally, though, you can see when I do it, it sort of lands sort of in the middle or to the back side, though. Nice. And to finish it off, our second finger is gonna go the 3, and then 0. See, when I do that and I have these mutes here, I find it just way funner because your right hand can just dig in. I don't have to be like, you know, just making sure I'm just hitting the A string. I can play so much louder. But like I said, if that's really frustrating you and feeling super difficult, don't worry about it at all. This right here is still the song. It's still the exact riff they rock. It's just the other way is just the way I like to do it, just to have a little bit more fun with it. So one thing you can do to this to make it sound a little bit more like the recording, blues guys love to bend. Like almost every note they bend just a tiny little bit. So you can just go and just give your just a tiny little flick down. You see, I'm just sort of bending the A string just a little bit towards the floor. I'm not going, you know, just a little bend, just a little flick down. And the same thing with my first finger, just pull it down a little bit. It's a subtle thing, but it adds a lot. You can, like, now that I've mentioned it, you're gonna notice it, but before that, you probably didn't even notice I was doing those little bends in there. A lot of subtlety with the blues, those little bends in there. Next time, yeah, you're trying to learn a blues song, if it doesn't sound like they're recording at all, it might be because you're just not getting those little slight subtle bends in there, so keep that in mind. But that's Mannish Boy. That's the whole thing right there. So like I said, get it down with the track, and just that's going to do so much for your rhythm playing it along with the song. So the second tune we're going to check out in today's lesson is Hoochie Coochie Man. It's kind of the same groove, the same sort of style of like riff and then singing, and then riff and then singing. It's totally just the same thing, you know, where he's going, I'm a man, you know. So he's like riff, then singing, riff, sing. We do the exact same thing on this one. We go. See, towards the end of it, we kind of just jump away from that original riff a little bit, and we get into a little bit of a shuffle kind of riff there. But let's check out that very first riff here. So we got, again, we're in the key of A here. That's the riff right there. So start second finger, 3rd fret, A string, downstroke in your right hand. And now we're gonna go to the D string, and check this out. We're gonna do a hammer-on. So open D string. My first finger is literally gonna hammer onto the 2nd fret, So remember, that term hammer on means exactly what it sounds like. You have to hammer it on there. It's not just like a, we gotta smack it on so hard that our right hand can take a little break. See that? My right hand didn't have to do anything. Yeah. And then we finished up by going 3-0 on the A string. So again, that last part is 3 and then 0 on the A string. So the whole riff is, and again. One more time. Cool. Now in the song, it seems like they do the hammer on there sometimes and sometimes not. So let's learn it without the hammer on as well, because they're both in the song. So that would just be just picking it totally normally. Everything all downstrokes. Now you'll notice that 3 with my second finger, I give it a tiny little bend, just like what I was talking about before, where you bend certain notes slowly. Check it out. Slight bend. Again, I'm not going, I'm just doing a little. It's hard to notice, but it adds a ton. And yeah, I'm just doing a little bend down here. I almost just push my wrist out and down, and it just bends the string a little bit. The good one to start bending on, because yeah, it's like we're not going to a certain pitch. It's not like a, where you have to really know what note you're bending to. It's just a little flick. So we're gonna loop that first riff 4 or 8 times, depending on where you are in the song. And after that, we jump to the next part, which is kind of a cool shuffle rhythm. And yeah, it sounds just like this. We go. Now what I love about this riff is after that, we just do the same thing on the A string. Same pattern on the E. It's the same thing, you're just kind of changing strings. So we start off here on the D string and the G string. The D string is open. My first finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the G. So let's play those 2 notes in harmony. All right, so we're going to play it twice. So you go down, down. Now my second finger here is going to go onto the 3rd fret of the D string. I go 3rd fret, and then my 3rd finger goes to the 4th fret, same string. So far I've got. Notice I just left my first finger there, because I'm going to come back to it. Nice. And now we do go back to that first chord. So you got. Again. And then we go over to the 5th fret of the G string with our pinky, and you just play the D string as well, and just play it twice. If you want to, you can give that pinky note a little bend down, but again, that's not mandatory. It's just a little bit of extra icing on the cake there. It doesn't have to be there. It just sounds sweet. So that whole little figure is. And we've got it. So at this part of the song, we do it 2 times in a row. So let's do it 2 times in a row. Nice. Now, one of my favorite things about the blues is that you're just gonna move that riff over, same exact figure on a different set of strings. So we're gonna move everything 1 string set towards the ceiling. We're gonna go boom. All right, so my first finger is now on the D string. I've got the open A string ringing through, and I go 2 of those first. And then my second finger comes onto the A string, and I go 3. And then my third finger goes onto the 4th fret of the A string as well. So you got. One more time. And now my pinky's gonna come over and this time land on the D string. And then I've got the whole figure, so it's... Nice, and just like the other one, we do it 2 times in a row. So let's do both of those. We got the first chord twice, and then the second chord twice. 3, 4. We continue on, same riff, again, move everything towards the ceiling, 1 string set. Now we've got the open E string and the 2nd fret on the A string, and I go. So the same figure, I've got da, da, and then my 2nd comes onto the 3rd fret of the E, and then my 3rd finger goes on the 4th fret of the E, and then back to the chord, and then the pinky comes onto the A string, 5th fret. Now, I did it a few times there to loop it, but it's actually just 1 time there. We do it once, and then we go back to the very first one and do it once. So that's on the D string and the G string. So remember guys, there are tabs for this whole thing. It's super easy to follow those tabs. So after that, we just hit the open A string. And then we're gonna do a turnaround, which I'm gonna show you in 1 sec, but let me show you that whole part. So after this, and now we go to this, and we got dun, dun, dun. On just 1 open A. So it's the first chord twice, the second chord twice, and then the third chord once, back to the first chord, and then to the open A string. So rewind that, watch that as many times as you need to nail that. All right, so now for the turnaround. This is the very last little bit of the song here. It sounds like this. That's it right there. So put that in context. Sounds sweet. I love turnarounds. One of my favorite things about the blues, just the sound of that turnaround. It just really like kind of gets your ears back to the 1 chord. Kind of it either triggers the 12-bar blues to restart or end. That's the power of the turnaround. So what we got here is 5, 4, 3, 2. So what I'm going to be doing though is it's kind of tricky. I'm playing the 5th fret of the D string, and I'm also playing the 5th fret of not the G, but the B string. So I've got the 4th string and the 2nd string, or the D string and the B string. So you can do it with 1 finger. I personally like to do it with 1 finger, but I want to show you a different way to start off with here. You can do your first 2 fingers. Almost looks like a little A7 down here. But the key with this one right here is you only want those 2 notes ringing through. You don't want the G string or the high E string or the A string or the E. You just want those 2 ringing through. So check it out. When I've got this down here, my first finger is lightly against the A string, muting him. My first finger is also slouching over the G string, so that's muted. My second finger is slouched over the high E string. So it's almost like take your good technique A7 and just slouch it. Just make your technique horrible. Just let your hand come down and mute all those strings. So when you strum the bottom 4, you only get those 2 ringing through. So you got, and then just move it down 1, move it down 1, move it down 1 more. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2. And I'm just strumming right through with the right hand. Sweet. And you can also, another thing you can do with this is kind of what I like to do personally, is I like to hybrid pick it. So hybrid picking is where you do a combination of using a pick and using your fingers. So my pick is going to be hitting the D string, while my second finger plays the B string. So it kind of plucks it back while the D plucks it down. So I have, let's try that a couple times. Just hold that 5 and just go. The nice thing about doing it like this with the hybrid picking is that you don't have to worry about hitting muting the other strings. If you got a good hybrid, you know only those 2 strings are going to ring through. So that's 5, 4, 3, 2. And I'll show you the way I like to do it as well. It's the hybrid picking method, and I like to just use my first finger right there. I just bar, instead of using 2 fingers, my first finger just bars all the way down the bottom 4 strings. And because I'm hybrid picking, I don't have to worry that my first finger is barred over. I can just, and then the very end of the turnaround is on the D string. We just go 0, 1, 2. And your fingers match the fret. So we got open, first finger, first fret, second finger, second fret. So the whole turnaround is, one more time with the other fingering. It's good to have both kind of ways of doing it down, like have the hybrid picking and the picking, because I feel like if I was playing this song live, sometimes I might do the picking, the hybrid picking that is, and sometimes I might go, you know, maybe if it was later on in the song we wanted to kick up the volume, then I might actually pick it. You can kind of dig in a little bit harder there. So it's good to have both so that you can react to any situation you're in. So let me give you a whole run through of the riff one more time. So. Well guys, that about does it for me here. Those were the 2 songs I wanted to run through today, Mannish Boy and Hoochie Coochie Man. They kind of like fade into each other nicely, because Mannish Boy is just, you know, one riff, and then Hoochie Coochie Man is one riff that leads into a kind of a cool shuffle with even a turnaround at the end. So if you're a total beginner and some of this is, you know, a little bit too difficult for you, that's all good, no worries. If you're a total beginner, I'd say just get this down. For now, just get that very kind of bass version of Mannish Boy down, and you'll have definitely got something out of this lesson. And remember, click on those tabs in the description of this video, download those, save them, print them out so you got a copy so you can play these songs whenever you want. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. We're producing just a ton of content at Campfire Guitar Star now, 2 new lessons a week. So make sure you're subscribed so that you can, you know, stay in contact with what we're doing. If you want to improve your guitar playing, keep in contact with us because we're doing tons of free lessons right now. There's also a book that you can check out as well. I would totally recommend. Again, there's more information in the description of this video. 5-minute guitar book. I would totally recommend checking this out if you're a beginner. It's just a lot of amazing content, chords, scales, songs, everything you're gonna need to really just shred the guitar comes with this book. And it's also gonna come with a compatible video course as well called 5-Minute Guitar. So you get the videos and the book totally for free. All you gotta do is handle the shipping of the book. Now, how you're seeing me right now, we can be totally doing this one-on-one as well. I connect with people all over the world for online lessons. I've got a schedule full of people who just love online lessons. So yeah, give me a shout if you're interested in trying this out. Again, there's more info in the description of this video, but I'd love to connect with a one-on-one lesson with you and really run some blues, rock, anything you're into. And don't forget to check out our other resources. We've got tons of courses at Campfire Guitar Star. We've got 1960 songs, acoustic guitar star, blues guitar star, lead guitar star. All of our products will just make you a well-rounded, totally awesome guitarist. So make sure you check out all that stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one.